All right, so part two today is our need to know. What does this mean? The third and final aspect of this need for control relates to our need to be able to understand, explain, and predict everything. This is yours truly biggest struggle. I think it's hardest for us that believe we're just smart enough to have actually found some success in understanding and explaining and predicting, and so believe that we can with everything. It's easy to see how this ability would lead to a sense of absolute control. If I am a god in some of the predictions that I've had, well, certainly I should be able to predict all things, and it's just not true. If we can understand, explain, and predict everything, then we'll be prepared to cope with everything that comes along. We'll never look stupid or unprepared. We'll be ready for it all. So what is this all about again? It goes back once again, I think, for our need to survive. This 2 million-year-old amygdala was so good at keeping us alive that it's perpetually still at it. As soon as it senses that we're out of control, it kicks in and goes primal, just like the tiger is chasing us. Only thing is, you can't fight a feeling of lack of control because there's nothing physically there to fight. So what do? Well, the only thing left to do is run away, to escape. And to escape a sense of lack of control is to make something up rather than accept that we don't know. Are you guilty of this? How many times do we just say, I don't know? Usually our brain jumps to some conclusion or absolute based on past experience. And while that's not always incorrect, it's very rarely always accurate. So if you're particularly vulnerable to this way of thinking, you might be overly optimistic, but oftentimes we'll make up something that's negative. And I have a little personal story if you'll bear with me for a moment. I'm not great at being on time. My wife, however, is excellent at it. So much so that if she says that she'll be here at 12, it means that she literally will be there at 12. Now, I'm usually the one that's gone from the homestead. But one time, she was gone. She said she'd be back at a certain time, and she wasn't. And I'm not talking 10 minutes late, 20 minutes late, but almost an hour late. So the fact that she consistently is always on time, and then she was late and didn't let me know or didn't respond, I didn't jump to the most optimistic conclusion. And I'm embarrassed to say that I didn't just jump to a realistic conclusion, but I had basically, in an hour's time that she didn't respond to my texts, didn't call, I had prepared myself that I was now a widower, and mentally I had gone to a point where she was no longer with us. I'd already made preparations for her funeral. I'd already thought about what it had been like to be a father of 3 kids without a wife, and I had taken this so far to a point that I'm embarrassed to even tell you. And I share that with you because whenever my brain has a tendency to focus on the perpetual what if, I'll remind myself to don't kill Kel. And that's my little mantra, that if I've taken it too far, I'll remind myself, be like, hey man, don't kill Kel. Don't go as far as you need to. Now, of course, I still get a little bit worried or concerned when things aren't exactly like I would predict or that I can't explain, but that's not stress. That's just a normal, appropriate reaction. So I hope you find that a little amusing, and good luck on the exercise as we think ourselves about the contradictions between what we think and oftentimes what happens.